Chapter 8. Observation of the individual. One distinct area of observation that is of great relevance to the tracker is the observation of people. This subject is of importance for three main reasons. First, it is an area in which the mental tracking skills of observation, memory, analysis, deduction, and comprehension can be practiced on a daily basis without any special preparation. Second, it concentrates the tracker's mind on the recognizable, describable peculiarities of individuals. And third, for the teacher and those responsible for the development of young people, it has great practical application in the nurturing of the precise use of language, which is crucial to the ability to record and report. Mental skills. When traveling and going about his daily business, the potential tracker can exercise his skills by noticing every little thing about his fellow passengers and passers-by, their faces, their dress, the way they talk, and any other detail that would help him pass on a description of the individual to someone else. Although we cannot always test the correctness of any deduction we make, it does add more interest both to the observation and the journey if we try to think of the personality and the occupation of the individual. Judging character from appearances is difficult and can be very inaccurate, but the mental skills it engages are some of those a tracker needs to polish to a high level of accomplishment. To reiterate, he observes, remembers, selects, and analyzes, and then comprehends and deduces. Apart from the rational application of the mind, the tracker's study of individuals exercises his imagination. It enables him to put himself in the place of another, to live his life, to enter his thoughts. This is of considerable importance in tracking. Another interesting aspect of our ability to describe people is that individuals naturally differ in viewpoint, and this affects the deductions they make. For example, a doctor was able to say that a man had been badly wounded some years previously in his left leg because he noticed that, when the man was tired, his left shoulder dropped an inch or so lower than his right. The injured man had previously congratulated himself on the fact that no one who did not know could tell of his injury because he had no sign of a limp. The description of individuals. Judging height and build is important in the observation of individuals, and special attention should be paid to these points. Anyone concerned with training beginners will notice that their descriptions pay more attention to the clothes a person is wearing than to the person himself, although it is easier for a person to change his clothes than his height and build. Similarly, a slight change in the facial appearance, such as the absence or addition of a mustache, will guard against the passing scrutiny, whereas a habit of gait or of carriage will give one away at once to a tracker, as these features will usually affect the sign. To describe an individual with accuracy, it is vital to have some scheme with which to break down the task into manageable portions. Also, by using a format, we ensure that we do not overlook any areas. The following format breaks down the description into logical sections. It is interesting for the instructor of a group to compare and contrast the group's descriptive efforts before and after being shown this layout. Format for describing an individual. Sex. Age, in a 5-year bracket. Use their dress, the surroundings, the activity, as well as their physical appearance to assess their age. Height, in a 5 centimeter bracket. Use reference points, a door is 2 meters, or compare with a known person. Build, slim, medium, large. Posture, bent, straight, lopsided. Hair, color, parting, length, style, clean, dirty. Face, complexion, shape, features, facial hair, scars. Eyes, spacing, color, large, staring, glasses. Gait, speed, stride, limp, swagger, military. Dress, so as to avoid omissions, work from the head to the feet. Carrying, describe any articles that the person is holding or carrying. Distinguishing features, if the person has any unusual characteristics, note them. Other remarks, reminds me of. If it is possible, name a person to whom the individual has a likeness. One of the hardest parts of the person to describe, but one of the best recognition features, is the person's face. To overcome this problem, it is very useful to use the breakdown of facial features in Figure 18. Language skills. I hope the following points will be especially helpful for people who have responsibilities for the personal development of the young. To be able to describe accurately and briefly demands the exercise and command of strong powers of expression. Therefore, the practice of describing individuals can only help the communication skills of young people. To this end, I again would draw your attention to how much detail can be given about a person's face by a good command of the language and a logical approach, as is demonstrated by the drawings and descriptions in Figure 18. Finally, I would like to suggest some games for use in training the powers of observing people. Again, these will be of great assistance to the youth leader. Games for observation. Dressing statues. A person is arranged by one group in a pose and wearing specific items of dress. The second group then enters the room and is allowed 2 minutes to observe the figure. They depart and the figure resumes his normal dress and position. The group then re-enters and has 3 to 5 minutes to rearrange the figure as it first saw him. The unrehearsed incident. During an unrelated activity, a predetermined incident is enacted. The incident should be dramatic and brief. The observers are then tested on what they can remember of the events. It will amaze them that the same events can be remembered in so many different ways. Filming the original incident using a video can be very informative, exhibiting beyond any doubt what actually took place. From go to stop. In this game, the participants are to observe every action of a particular person from the word go to the word stop. The person selected need only go through a few more or less ordinary actions, such as taking off his coat and walking a few paces. As the skills of the group progress, the actions can become more complicated and the time extended. Games to exercise the powers of deduction and imagination. Empty your pockets. A number of small articles, such as those carried in a man's pockets, a set of keys, a pen, a few coins, an old receipt, the return half of a railway ticket, a small notebook, and so on, are placed on a tray or table. A story is told of a man found wandering with loss of memory or a man found unconscious or dead. You are to try to identify him if possible, or give some useful guide as to his identification from the contents of his pockets. Naturally, the instructor needs to expend considerable thought and preparation so that the items from the pockets are compatible with the suggested answer. Dressing up. The important part of a disguise is not so much dressing the part, which is comparatively easy, but acting the part. That is one of the reasons why play acting is of undoubted use in persuading people to use their imagination and to try and get into the skin of the person they are following. Clothing, beard, or hairstyle is only the first superficial layer. During the long hours spent in observation posts, OPs, in Northern Ireland, we usually recognize the target by gait long before we can confirm with a positive ID of the face. Summary. Format for describing an individual. Sex, age in a 5-year bracket, use dress, surroundings, activity, as well as physical appearance to assess age. Height in a 5 centimeter bracket. Use reference points. A door is 2 meters. Compare with a known person to estimate. Build, slim, medium, large. Posture, bent, straight, lopsided. Hair, color, parting, length, style, clean, dirty. Face, complexion, shape, features, facial hair, scars. Eyes, spacing, color, large, staring, glasses. Gait, speed, stride, limp, swagger, military. Dress, so as to avoid emissions, work from the head to the feet. Carrying, describe any articles that the person is holding or carrying. Distinguishing feature, if the person has any unusual characteristics, note them. Other remarks, reminds me of. If it is possible, name a person to whom the individual has a likeness.